At the low end of things, you can expect to spend around $1,800 for a flock of 6 in their first year of life. As your flock grows and your coop and run expands, that number only goes up. Here's my breakdown of my flock's first year of life and a slightly bougie coop at a little higher price point. It's hard to place an individual value on each of my chickens. Some were gifts, some were hatched from my own flock, and others have been purchased from various hatcheries. For the purposes of this estimate, I've decided to pick a mid-tier breed and assume they were all purchased as chicks for around $550 each. Starting off the spending strong, this flock comes in around $275. When you have a lot of chicks, you want a nice, big, long-lasting brooder. We built this one for around $100. For a heat source, you can use a lamp for around $12 or a brooder plate for around $40. My all-time favorite feeder and water for chicks is the Roosties Chick Feeder. The set is around $25 and it grows with your birds and keeps their feed and water clean. A bag of wood chips and chick starter come out to around $22, making the running total for this first week of life a whopping $462. And I'd like to say it gets better from there, but with a brand new coop for this many birds, it doesn't. The new coop I built this past winter doesn't hold all 50 birds. At maximum capacity, it holds 37, and it is really a 2-in-1 coop situation. If we break it down as one coop and not two, it works out to a 16x8 coop and a 16x40 run, all complete with half-inch hardware cloth and a dig skirt attached with screws and fender washers. The lumber for a coop this size came out to $2,050. The hardware like washers, screws, hasps, hinges adds an additional $545, and the half-inch hardware cloth adds $988. And a quality exterior paint adding another $160, this coop's grand total comes out to $3,743. And that's before we add in 2 feeders and waters per run, adding another $161. The final necessity of this coop is a substrate for the floor of the coops and runs. I opted for sand at $19.50 per ton, adding another $110 in expenses. That pretty well rounds out the bare bones of this coop, bringing our running total to $4,289. Since I'd already spent just over $4,000, I figured adding some pizzazz, enrichment, decor, and fun items wouldn't hurt. All of these fun items added another $519 to our total. Were any of these things a necessity? No, not at all. But I enjoyed investing in my flock and added these things little by little. To beef up security, I added blink cameras, which tacked on an additional $350. Adding power to the coop was going to add another couple grand. To avoid that, I opted for installing a solar panel system to power some lights, heated poultry waters in the winter, and 2 auto doors. The solar panels and battery setup added another $500 to the flock's total cost. A few finishing touches like nest pads, solar string lights, the heated waters, the auto doors, and an under cabinet light add another $322 to the total. Now that they've got a nice, safe home, we have to feed them. My flock eats an 18% all-flock feed with a few extra treats like mealworms and sprouts on occasion. Sprout trays and mealworms added an additional $130 to this year's spending. 50 birds is a lot to feed, and their yearly feed bill comes out to around $2,652. For my flock of 50, their new coop and run, and all the bells and whistles, their grand total comes to $8,510 just this year. Oops, I almost forgot the first aid kit. This many birds means you have to be prepared for any and all ailments. My first aid kit's grand total comes out to $389, making my total spending for the year $8,889. I'd never actually worked out the total, and all I can say is I sure hope my husband isn't watching this video. I'm well aware that a lot of this stuff is just extra fluff, and you can definitely make chickens cheaper, but for me, this is a hobby and a really fun way for me to create content and share my flock with all of you.